the lights go on again, all over the world, and the boys are home again, all over the world, and rain or snow is all that may fall from the skies above. A kiss won't mean goodbye, but hello to love. When the lights go on again, all over the world, and the ships will sail again, all over the world, then we'll have time for things like wedding rings, and free hearts will sing when the lights go on again, all over the world.
Good evening and welcome to the week ending November 21st, 1942. My name is Henry Chop and I'm your host. Tonight we are going to listen to World News Today, the Texaco Star Theater with Fred Allen, the Victory Parade of Spotlight Bands featuring Duke Ellington, and the Green Hornet. It all begins in 30 seconds. If you love the World War II era, consider following us on Patreon. You not only support this channel, but you will get daily posts of pop culture and a daily newspaper in chronological order. It's neat to follow the war as your parents, grandparents, or even your great-grandparents have followed it. Check us out with a 1-week free trial. A link is in the comments to this video. We're starting things off tonight with two programs from the same date, Sunday, November 15th, 1942. The first is a 25-minute newscast from CBS called World News Today. This was a critical time in the war on all the fronts, Guadalcanal, New Guinea, North Africa, and Stalingrad. Following the news, we are going to have some fun with Fred Allen. His guest on the program tonight is British actress Gracie Fields. There is lots of topical humor on this program, so if you're familiar with this era, or if you read the newspapers on our Patreon page, you might enjoy the program even more. They do a parody of what American radio programs would sound like if they were broadcast on the BBC. Usually, Fred wrote the entire script himself. Arthur Godfrey is his announcer, and I have read that there was a clash of egos and they did not get along really well. Personally, I think Arthur sounds kind of odd and uncomfortable as his role as an announcer. Tell me what you think in the comments. Right now, it's time to turn on this old tube radio. That's our time machine, and give this stuff a listen.
World News Today, brought to you by Continental Radio and Television Corporation, makers of Admiral Radio, America's smart set. CBS correspondents are waiting to bring you a complete report from the world's political and battlefronts. But first, here's John Daly.
Admiral Radio takes you at once to CBS Algiers. Charles Cullingwood reporting.
Algiers is a beautiful city. To the thousands of British and American troops here, it is a vast showplace with everything in it fascinating and exciting and different. It's not like any city these boys have ever known. In the central section of the town, the buildings are modern. They're big white buildings, half European, half Muslim in architecture with minarets and lattice work and gay colored tiles. Through the streets, there walks a constant, colorful procession. Arabs in their red feathers and baggy native dress, barefoot Muslim women with only their eyes showing above their white veils. And through it all stroll American soldiers, hundreds of them, their eyes wide open, taking it all in. I stopped on a street corner this afternoon to talk to a couple of them. One of them shook his head. "I've never seen anything like this except in pictures," he said. And the other one looked at him and said, "I've never seen anything like this, period." And then both of them stopped talking to shake hands with some young Frenchmen who just wanted to come up and let them know that they were glad that the Americans were here. Up in the native quarter, the Kasbah, as they call it, piled up on the hill, house above house, the scene is even stranger. The Kasbah is another city, a city within a city, full of little houses and twisting narrow streets that run steeply up the hill. By day, it is crowded and picturesque. By night, it is silent and mysterious. I got lost up there last night. There was no soul to be seen, only the green eyes of cats gleaming in the night and the feeling that behind the closed doors and shuttered windows, there were eyes watching you pass. This, then, is the Algiers that American troops are sightseeing in and working in today. It's a friendly city. In the week that we have been here, we've turned the civil administration back to the French. The French are running the city now. We are their guests. That is the way we try to act, and that is the way they treat us. We are honored guests. The French are doing everything they can to help us. You can't even ask your way in Algiers without 3 or 4 people jumping on the running board of your car and taking you there themselves. And this broadcast, if it hadn't been for the heroic efforts of the French officials who operate Radio Algiers, it would never have got out. And we don't even know now whether it is going out. I'm broadcasting tonight from a tiny, bare little hotel room. It's the only place we could find. There's a French engineer here who presides over a portable outfit that he brought in here yesterday. He's doing 4 things at once, and he's been doing it for hours. If we get on the air, and I say again, I don't know whether we are, it's because of these Frenchmen of Radio Algiers who have surmounted 1,000 difficulties to help us. So today, Algiers lies white and gleaming under the African sun. It's a happy city. A good deal happier, I think, than before we came. But this is a military operation we're engaged in here, and there are a lot of soldiers in Algiers who don't have time to look at the sights. When the Americans took Algiers, they laid a stepping stone. Now the British First Army is here, and the First Army is beginning to step. General Anderson said yesterday that the job of his First Army was to kick Rommel in the pants, and he means to do it. It's going to be a hard job. General Anderson knows it, and the First Army knows it too. They have vast distances to cover, and they've got to cover them fast. The Germans are trying to consolidate in Tunisia, and they're trying to throw up a barrier between this First Army of General Anderson and the 8th Army of General Montgomery. So far, the Germans have landed what they call here a considerable air force in Tunisia. They've also landed some ground troops, and they're pouring in more, both ground and air, just as fast as they can. It's the job of the First Army to get there before the Germans can be strong, and the First Army is racing just as fast as it can. So far, the advance is a matter of seizing ports and airfields like the one at Bone and leapfrogging from them toward the enemy. Any day now, the main body of the First Army will begin to roll, and when it does, its advance will be rapid and spectacular. This is Charles Collingwood in Algiers, returning you to CBS in New York.
And now for more news of the whole North African and Mediterranean area, Admiral Radio takes you to CBS London. Bob Trout reporting.
In London, just as in the United States, everyone is trying to keep up with the swiftly moving military and political events in the Mediterranean theater. In the rush, it's hard to fit the details into their places in the right perspective, and meanwhile, other news events which would usually be big news are lost in the shuffle. Here in London, we've been listening constantly to Radio Morocco and to Algiers. The political situation down that way is obviously still very, very difficult. In London, the strange case of Darlan looks not one bit less strange tonight. On the military side, all seems to be well, but of course, the hardest times are still ahead. The statement from number 10 Downing Street this evening says that 13 U-boats have been destroyed in the fighting off French North Africa, while Rommel's total losses by casualties and captured to date are now estimated by General Alexander as 75,000 Germans and Italians. We heard Radio Morocco, in American hands, say today that American troops crossed the Tunisian frontier last night and that they are making rapid progress toward the cities of Bizerta and Tunis. We've heard since then from Algiers that British and American reconnaissance parties have penetrated across the border into Tunisia, seeking the best way through the passes for the First Army, which is advancing as fast as possible. Apparently, most of General Anderson's British First Army is still on the Algerian side of that frontier, moving ahead on land, sea, and air as one unit. The British Broadcasting Corporation's observer with the First Army says that General Anderson describes the capture of the Bone airfield as a good example of British-American cooperation. This Bone airfield was taken by British parachute troops with a few Americans, all carried by American pilots in American planes. Simultaneously, the Royal Navy landed a mixed body of commandos. General Anderson said to this BBC observer, "A long period of strain, very hard living and hard fighting faces us. This is no picnic." Some of the American parachute troops in action in this theater are the ones who flew direct from Britain, led by their Colonel Edson Raff. Not very long before these parachute troops left, I flew with Colonel Raff and his men over the English countryside, but not very high over it. And they were all eager, very eager, to get over the training period and to start jumping into a real battle. One thing they told me fits in perfectly with General Anderson's words. They said, the serious work of parachute troops begins after they have hit the ground. The capture of Bone Airfield has provided a first-class base for the Royal Air Force. Many of the British pilots flying from Bone got their experience flying from Britain in sweeps over northern France, and now they're knocking down the Axis planes on another front. On the other side of Tunisia, Britain's Malta-based aircraft are taking part in the battle by attacking the enemy-held airfield at Tunis. And the Royal Air Force twin-engine fighters from Malta have made another successful low-level attack on this Tunis field. In a moment or two, we shall hear from General Alexander's zone of the Mediterranean, where the British Eighth Army is scarcely more than 200 miles along the coastal road from the Axis base of Benghazi. But in the few moments remaining to me in London, let me see if I can explain a little bit more in this period about the political situation which I was telling you about. Last night, CBS was able to bring you the first American broadcast from French North Africa since the landings. In it, Columbia's correspondent Charles Collingwood told us that the political situation is indeed still difficult. There's great allegiance to the established doctrine of Marshal Pétain. That is why, said Mr. Collingwood, Darlan's appointment as head of the government has been so well received in French North Africa, because Darlan is so closely connected with Pétain. I've reported to you before on how the mystery of Darlan looks from London. Now, Radio Algiers, in American hands, is broadcasting French-language announcements in the name of the Marshal, head of the French state. At the same time, the German-controlled French news agency on the continent is telling us that the French admiral commanding the French fleet at Toulon, on the wrong side of the Mediterranean, has just taken the oath of allegiance to the Marshal, head of the state, meaning, in this case, that the French fleet will not try to escape from the Germans. And now the time is up in London, so next to CBS Cairo and the report of Winston Burdett.
وكان يخطب مؤتمرا دوليا فقال ينبغي أن نطرح كيف يصيح هتلر في وجه العالم.
We regret that technical difficulties have made it impossible for us to get the report of Winston Burdett from Cairo, but here in the CBS World News headquarters we have the latest press dispatches which say that RAF fighters shot down at least 7 Axis planes and damaged many more between Tunis and Sicily yesterday, raising their bag to 20 in 3 days of assaults on the enemy's North African transport shuttle route, and meanwhile the British land forces in Libya drove within 180 miles of Benghazi in pursuit of the shattered Africa Corps. An official announcement said that most of the latest Axis ferry planes, which of course are headed for Tunis, have been knocked down, and there is a report that these transports, when attacked, give off a great concentration of fire, indicating that they are carrying German troops packing Tommy guns. The first attack was made at 10:15 a.m. yesterday when RAF fighters caught up with a flight of 35 of these transports, covered by 12 Nazi Messerschmitt fighters off Cap Bon in Tunisia. At 12:45, they pounced on another formation, and they have been attacking these formations all day long. Pursuit of Marshal Erwin Rommel's hapless desert troops, meanwhile, reached the eastern side of the Libyan hump at Tamimi, some 180 airline miles from Benghazi. The British 8th Army is pounding its way on to one of the greatest victories of this war. Some hundreds of miles to the north, in Russia, the latest German attempts to break through to the Volga in northern Stalingrad met with some initial successes, but the Red Army, in some of the heaviest fighting in recent weeks, cut off the Nazi wedge in the factory district and went on to smash attack after attack. The Germans threw masses of infantry, heavily supported by tanks, at a narrow sector which was only about 700 to 800 feet in width. After hours of fighting, this force broke through on one street, but Soviet counterattacks closed the gap before the Nazis could pour through. The Nazis are making what may well be their last try before winter forces them to retire. In the central Caucasus near Nauchik and on the Black Sea coast front above Tuapse, the Russians are improving their positions generally. If Hitler hoped to cover Nazi reverses in North Africa with successes in Russia, he has failed once again. Even the German High Command communique today obliquely admits that the Red Army is holding its own all over Russia. And now, here is a message from our sponsor.
Only a few months ago, a flying fortress flown by Captain Parcell and his crew of United States Army Air Force men was over the Philippines. Inside the plane, these commands were heard.
Bombardier.
Bombardier reporting, sir.
Nearing target. Take over.
1 degree to left. Hold on course. Bomb bay is open.
Bomb bay is open.
Bombs away.
Captain Parcell and his crew, in the air 32 hours, stopped 2 Jap invasion forces, sunk loaded Jap transports, and knocked down Jap Zero fighters. Such men deserve the best possible equipment, as much of it as they can use. For them, for others like them, Admiral workers in both great Admiral plants are working, building the finest, most dependable radio equipment they know how. And while Admiral workers build equipment, Admiral dealers act to keep civilian radio sets in perfect condition. Admiral dealers are specialists in radio servicing. Regardless of the brand name your present radio carries, let your Admiral dealer help you make it last for the duration. Or, if you need a new radio, ask him to show you the new Admiral Victory line. Most dealers still have a limited number of both Admiral radios and Admiral radio phonograph combinations with automatic record changers. Once you've seen and heard an Admiral, you'll know why it's considered America's smart set. And here again is John Daly.
We turn next to the Pacific, where the past few days have produced important developments. Admiral Radio takes you now to CBS Honolulu, Webley Edwards reporting.
On the night of November 12th, last Friday night, East Longitude time, a series of naval engagements began between forces of the United States Navy and the Japs. These actions continued through Saturday, with our Navy's communique saying that both American and Japanese forces suffered losses. It was obvious at once that no details concerning the battle would be forthcoming while the battle was in progress. For to release such details would provide the enemy with information of great value to him. Thus, there's no statement this morning from the Pearl Harbor headquarters of Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet. The Admiral and his staff are calm, confident, and very busy. This sea battle is continuing. And while it is more of a series of encounters rather than a full-dress single battle, it is of major importance. The Japs would like to drive our land forces from Guadalcanal Island and its precious airfield. To do this, they must protect their men and supplies with their naval forces. Our Navy is seeking the Jap sea forces wherever they can be found. There's plenty of rugged action in the South Pacific. To give you an idea of what goes on in this vast sweep of ocean and island-dotted area, it must be remembered that there have been, since the Coral Sea battle last May, more major naval actions out here in 6 months than there have been in all the previous history of modern navies combined. And considering long lines of supply and the vastness of the area, there have never been any naval battles quite like these in the Pacific. We have to win them the hard way. Successes in New Guinea give our Army planes a clearer area from which to strike at enemy supply bases, transports, and their escorts. As with all America, Hawaii was electrified at the great news of the rescue of Captain Eddie Rickenbacker and his crew in the Pacific somewhere between here and Samoa by a flying boat of the United States Navy. It is not known whether these hardy survivors will be brought here to Hawaii. The good news from North Africa continues to cheer our fighters out here in the Pacific. Don't forget them. There's a big fight going on out here against a tough enemy. This is Webley Edwards in Honolulu, returning you to CBS in New York.
Here at home, there has been considerable confusion over the political implications of the occupation of French North Africa, as there has been in London, particularly in regard to the status of Admiral Darlan, former French Commander-in-Chief. Washington has further news on that. So Admiral Radio takes you now to CBS Washington, Lee White reporting.
There's been no War Department communique so far on developments in North Africa, but it's reasonably certain that American forces are now attacking or about to attack the German-held airdromes and other strong points in the vicinity of Bizerte and Tunis. There's reason to believe there are about 10,000 German troops in Tunisia, and that more are coming in as fast as they can be ferried across the Mediterranean from Sicily. Only the position of the naval commanders at Bizerte seems doubtful, and they may well have decided to side with the Allies following Admiral Darlan's recognition as chief of government in all North Africa. As Charles Collingwood told you last night, in the first broadcast received from Algiers, pro-Vichy sentiment was much stronger throughout North Africa than we at first anticipated. Bob Trout has just told you how the Darlan situation looks in London. Here's how it looks in Washington. Whatever Americans may think of Marshal Pétain, it's obvious that the old man was respected to the point of reverence by large numbers of influential political, military, and naval leaders throughout Morocco and Algiers. And all these people remained loyal to Admiral Darlan as Pétain's right-hand man. It's becoming increasingly evident that General Eisenhower was faced with a dilemma, either of signing an immediate armistice with Darlan or facing the prospects of continued Vichy resistance. He seems to have chosen the former alternative for two reasons. First, in order to avoid useless bloodshed and the necessity of wasting 50 or 60,000 American fighting men in policing unfriendly territory, and second, in order to be able to enter Tunisia as soon as possible. Morocco and Algiers were pacified several days ahead of schedule, and now, thanks to our agreement with Darlan, complete order reigns, and it's possible for our army to go ahead with the investment of Tunisia without wasting a single moment of very valuable time. Tunisia is the keystone to our occupation of the African coast of the Mediterranean. And now here's Columbia's military expert, Major George Fielding Elliott, with an analysis of the situation in the South Pacific.
The Japanese appear to be making a renewed attempt to establish naval control of the waters around the embattled island of Guadalcanal. What success they are having, if any, is as yet uncertain. It is quite possible that they may be beaten off once more. But even if they are, we should understand that they will keep coming back and keep trying until they are finally deprived of the means of doing so, which means deprived of the basis from which such attacks can be launched. In other words, there is no victory to be chalked up for us in this part of the world until we have taken all the Japanese bases on New Guinea and New Britain, as well as their remaining footholds in the Solomons. And to do this, we must gain command of the sea so that we can move troop ships. If all this can be accomplished, we shall then have 600 miles of open sea between us and the next nearest Japanese bases in the Caroline Islands. And we can consolidate our positions for further operations. It will then take a major Japanese effort to get at us, while we shall have excellent new submarine bases for attacks on Japan's vital overseas communications. But as long as the Japanese remain close at hand, as they are now, with the support of their big advanced base at Rabaul, making possible the continuing assembling of effort, the hit down the long line into the Solomons, we shall have no rest on Guadalcanal. The Japanese will not give us any. Their whole idea appears to be to prevent us from getting comfortably set in the southeastern Solomons so that we can launch new amphibious attacks to gain new footholds. And it is a very sound idea from the Japanese point of view. They have been willing to make great sacrifices to carry it through, and they are continuing to do so. One countermeasure which we are taking may prove to be of unexpected value, and that is the American-Australian advance on the mainland of New Guinea. The Japanese, having lost the mountain passes and their advanced position at Kolkata, have now been driven from Wairopi by the Australians, while an American force is approaching the Japanese coastal base at Buna. There seems to be a distinct possibility that the whole of eastern Papua is about to fall into our hands, and this, if true, menaces the Japanese in the western Solomons and all the approaches from Rabaul toward Guadalcanal. But the real decision will be at sea, and not until we have been able to gain the upper hand there can we expect any decisive results in the southwestern Pacific. Merely beating off Japanese attacks will serve no permanent purpose. We now return you to CBS New York and John Daly.
And that's World News Today. Now here's Warren Sweeney with a word from Admiral Radio.
Do you know what radiogoniometry is? Well, probably not. But the United States Army Signal Corps does, for radiogoniometry is the science by which it locates enemy radio stations. Hundreds of radio terms and devices are unfamiliar to us, yet vital to the armed forces. If you could walk through the Admiral plants, you would see many of these radio devices in the process of being manufactured. Thousands have already been delivered. Many more will be. For Admiral's facilities have been pledged 100% to the war effort until victory has been won. This means, of course, that no Admiral radios, no Admiral radio phonograph combinations are being made for civilian use today. However, most Admiral dealers still have a limited supply of the new Admiral Victory line. If you do need a radio, see your Admiral dealer. The Victory line is comprised of the finest radios and radio phonograph combinations Admiral has ever turned out. See for yourself why Admiral, in peacetime, became the world's largest manufacturer of radio phonograph combinations with automatic record changers. World News Today is brought to you each Sunday at this hour by Continental Radio and Television Corporation, makers of Admiral Radio, America's smart set. Be sure to listen next Sunday when Admiral again will give you World News Today by shortwave, direct from the leading news centers of the world. Americans, this war is a matter of life or death. Don't pull your punches. If you've not already signed up for 10% in war bonds on the payroll savings plan, sign up now. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The WBBM Air Theater, Wrigley Building, Chicago.
It's Texaco time, starring Fred Allen, with the international favorite Miss Gracie Fields, Portland Hopper, and Al Goodman and his orchestra. This is Arthur Godfrey, giving out with a great big "You're welcome" for Texaco dealers coast to coast. And welcome to all the skilled help your Texaco dealer can give to keep your car delivering essential transportation. Right now, with winter coming on, that help's more important than ever. Take your car around to your Texaco dealer and get it set for cold weather. With insulated Haviland motor oil in the engine, the right grade of Texaco gear lubricant, a Marfac chassis job from stem to stern, and a high-quality antifreeze in the radiator, your car's ready to take the toughest treatment cold weather can hand out. See your Texaco dealer first thing tomorrow. Make him your car warden. Let him help you care for your car, for your country. Well, folks, we're all having our troubles getting coffee, meat, and fuel, and tonight we bring you a commodity you get too much of, and here he is, Fred Allen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Well, Arthur, I just found this on the floor. That's the worst of conjunctions. You see, a butt is apt to fall out of the script any time, and you have to pick it up. Pure conjunction in the script. Well, Arthur, what have you been up to all week?
Oh, nothing much, Fred. I registered my tires, and I re-registered for gasoline.
Good for you.
And I got so many stickers on my car now, my windshield looks like Mrs. Roosevelt's suitcase.
A friend of mine lost his A card, Arthur. He couldn't drive his car, so he brought it into the parlor and jacked it up.
In the parlor? Why didn't he put the car in his garage?
Well, he's still using the cigarette lighter and the radio in the car, Arthur. And speaking of the radio, did you hear Mr. Benny's program tonight?
No, Fred, no. What happened?
Well, you tell me. As usual, Don Wilson's commercial stole the show, Arthur. Benny was broadcasting from Terminal Island out in California tonight. You know, terminal, I looked it up in the dictionary, terminal means end. So Benny has finally reached the end tonight. He got to the terminal. Dorothy Lamour was on the show, too, Arthur. After being in the road to Mandalay, the road to Zanzibar, and the road to Morocco, Dorothy must have felt as though she was up an alley to get on that program. But the thing went along that way. Benny sang White Christmas. He's the only man in the world who can sing White Christmas in Technicolor. White Christmas with blue notes. But in the middle of the program, when Dorothy Lamour came in, Benny said, "It's really her. It's really her." And you see, I'm from Boston, Arthur. When I heard that grammatical error, I fainted and missed the rest of the program. But enough about the old Fumpet, Arthur. Let's turn to the latest news of the week. The March of Trivia presents its weekly lowlight from the world of news. Washington, D.C. The Board of War Communications issues order prohibiting all telegraphic greetings this Christmas except to soldiers and sailors in the expeditionary forces. The BWC further rules...
All New Year, Easter, Father's Day, Mother's Day, wedding anniversary, and birthday greetings must be discontinued.
Tonight, the March of Trivia interviews a group of workers directly affected by the new telegram ruling. First, Mr. Chilton Chowder. You are a telegraph employee, Mr. Chowder?
An ex-employee.
Oh, an ex-employee.
I was vice president in charge of kittygrams.
Oh, I see.
I've been composing kittygrams for 15 years. Mm-hmm. I wrote the first kittygram to be sent over the wire.
The first kittygram?
Yes.
Well, how did the first kittygram go, Mr. Chowder?
Kitty, kitty, ogle, goo. Gurgle, gurgle, glub, glub, boo. Dad and mother say to you, da, da, diddums, agoo, agoo.
Well, now that kittygrams are through, is your career ended?
No, I've got a job in radio.
Oh, really? In radio? Doing the same kind of work?
Yes, I'm a gag man for Baby Snooks.
Oh, I see. Well, Baby Snooks can probably use a change, and thank you, Chilton Chowder. A young lady messenger who was happy about the new ruling was Miss Tallulah Trudge.
What us messengers has been going through is nobody's business.
Running errands, you mean, Tallulah?
We've been minding babies, lugging Bon Voyage baskets, shoeing horses, walking dogs.
Well, you messengers walk dogs, do you?
One old dame phones for me every day to take out her dog. It's a Pomeranian.
Oh. A Pomeranian, huh? You exercise the pup, do you?
The dog's so old it can't walk. I gotta grease its stomach and drag it around the block.
You drag the dog, you say?
Yeah, and every noon I gotta take the Pomeranian to a delicatessen.
Oh, really? Well, what does he eat?
He makes his own decisions.
The dog orders its own food?
I hold up the mutt and move him along the meat counter.
Yeah?
When he sees something he likes, he drools.
And?
Well, I buy half a pound, then I drag the Pomeranian and the meat back to the old lady.
And then?
Well, the dog's so old he ain't got no teeth.
So?
Before he can eat, I gotta chew his meat for him.
And then you're finished?
Finished nothing. When the dog gets through with the meat,
yeah?
I gotta take the bone up to Central Park and bury it.
That is Western Union Service. It's a dog's life, and thank you, Tallulah Trudge. And now two messenger boys.
We're Slim and Sam. For 8 years, we sang singing singagrams.
Oh, singing messenger boys. And this new ruling has put you fellas out of work?
No, we got one more telegram to deliver.
Well, what is your vocal farewell, boys?
Happy birthday, Marshal Rommel. A cake we'd like to bake you. We'll give you greetings just as soon as we can overtake you. Signed, Ike Eisenhower.
Well rendered, and thank you, Slim and Sam. Well, I guess that takes care
Old George Ives, old Sonny Jim, Falstaff's here to flaunt his whim.
Now, Openshaw, you're not here again with more of those soggy poems.
Have you heard, there we were making merry, she sipped her phosphate, I munched my cherry?
No, I haven't heard.
Or, when I put the turtle in her girdle, that's what broke up me and Myrtle?
No, I haven't heard that either.
Please don't interrupt, Judge. Let my mother finish her sentence.
Now, wait a minute. Too far. You cad, you compound bore. Tonight we are talking about the restrictions on telegrams.
Precisely why I am here. I have written a poem.
What is it called?
Mother's Day won't be the same.
Well, how does it go?
Mother's Day won't be the same without a mothergram. A message fraught with sentiment. Sincerity, not sham. I remember blank 6-1 with forget-me-nots in blue and 10 words to tell you, Mother dear, my thoughts are just of you. Some years I sent Mom Form 8B. It read, Mother, you're old and gray, but happy, joyous wishes, Mother, for this is Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. No, Mother's Day won't be the same. My Mom, it's going to affect. For each year I send Mother her mothergram, and I always send it collect.
Well, thank you. And here is Arthur Godfrey with a telegram that hasn't been restricted. It's from Uncle Sam, isn't it, Arthur?
Yes, Fred. Uncle Sam's gone into the tire business. He's going to buy every idle tire in the country.
What are idle tires, Arthur?
Well, you see, you're entitled to 5 tires to a passenger car, Fred.
Uh-huh.
If you've got more than that, they're idle tires. Mm-hmm. And they must be sold to our government before December 1st. And remember, that's the only place you can sell them. You'll be paid OPA ceiling prices for your idle tires, and Uncle Sam will ration them out to essential users.
Well, what happens if you don't sell your idle tires to Uncle Sam?
That man with the whiskers ain't fooling, Fred.
Not kidding, man.
If you've got extra tires and don't sell them, you won't be able to buy any gasoline. Because everybody's got to file a tire record with his local rationing board showing how many tires he has and their serial numbers.
Well, how do you sell your idle tires to the government, Arthur?
If you've got more than 5 tires to a passenger car, Fred, Uncle Sam wants you to keep the 5 best for your own use. So go to your Texaco dealer and have him select the 5 that'll give you the longest service. You keep those.
Uh-huh.
Then you call your local office of the Railway Express. The Railway Express will deliver your idle tires to the government appraiser without charge to you. And you will receive a check for them, or war stamps, if you prefer, by mail. This is a must from Uncle Sam, ladies and gentlemen. If you have more than 5 tires to a passenger car, you must sell those idle tires to our government before December 1st. Don't put it off. And for further information and for help in selecting your 5 best tires, see your neighborhood Texaco dealer.
Maestro Goodman finally completed a number tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It was You're a Grand Old Flag, and that about takes
Mr.
care...
Allen!
Oh, Portland, yes.
Simba! Allen!
Now, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute, Portland. What is this?
Well, I'm leading a cheer for you.
A cheer?
Come on, everybody.
Wait a minute. Stop that sisting. You may start a trend in here with that sisting. What inspires these stadium antics, ce soir?
Mother and I saw the Yale-Princeton football game yesterday.
Really? Did you do any rooting?
Yes. Mama and I cheered for Yale. We have one of their locks.
It's not the same people, Portland. These people have another business. They raise ivy up in New Haven, the Yale. Yale has a much better team this year, you know. Last fall, the football team was so bad, Yale changed its name from Old Eli to Eli. Say, I wish I had been in that game yesterday.
Oh, did you ever play football?
Oh, on our high school team years ago, the High School of Commerce up in Boston, I was left swayback for 2 seasons there. I had a chance to play with Fordham, but someone found out you could pronounce my name, so the deal fell through. I didn't have a ski on the end of it to take off for cold weather. But enough about football. Enough about football. Our guest is on the 2-yard line.
Who's coming tonight?
Well, you'll know in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to have you meet one of the world's foremost entertainers, a charming lady who is here on a Lend-Lease arrangement with Great Britain. Meet Miss Gracie Field. I didn't send them, Gracie. There's a card here. I'll see what it says on the card. It says, "To the one and only Gracie Fields, in appreciation of all you have done for the British Empire." And it's signed all of your friends in Canada and also our Canadian sponsors, the McCall Frontenac Oil Company. Gracie, those are for you.
That's very nice, Fred. The folks in Canada have always been very kind to me.
Yes, if I get that many flowers when I die, I'll be surprised, Gracie. But I'll take these home for you after the program. Where are you stopping?
I've got digs over on Park Avenue.
Digs on Park Avenue?
Yes, it's a big cement bungalow. Some family called Waldorf runs it.
Well, you'd better take the flowers home, Gracie. I can't get in the Waldorf.
Oh, you mean the Waldorf is too swanky?
Oh, you can't get in the Waldorf unless you have caviar on your breath. There's a stop at the door. Why, I hung around the door of the Waldorf all 1 week hoping there would be an air raid drill so somebody would push me in the lobby, but it was no good.
Well, don't worry about the flowers, Fred. I'll take them home myself.
Fine. I know you've given a lot of shows at army camps in England, Canada, and the United States, Gracie. Tell me, did you entertain many of our American soldiers in England?
Yes, Fred. I've met hundreds of boys from the United States in Brooklyn.
Well, Brooklyn is a part of the United States, Gracie.
That's funny. The boys I spoke to gave me the impression that Brooklyn was a kingdom.
Well, Brooklyn isn't really a kingdom, but a lot of people have been crowned over there. Tell me, how are the boys getting along back home?
Oh, fine, Fred. I think a lot of Brooklyn families are going to be surprised when their boys come home with a British accent.
No. No, Gracie. If the Brooklyn boys stay over in England long enough, Mr. Churchill will get up in Parliament someday to talk about the Axis and say, "We'll murder them bums." But speaking of slang, Gracie, do you have any trouble with our idiom?
No, Fred. When I told some of the American soldiers I was coming over here, they taught me all your slang.
Oh, good. You know all of the words then, huh?
Oh, yes. If I want to impress people, all I have to say is, "Don't kid me, big boy. I'm a jerk."
That's to impress people, you say that.
You said it, brother. I'm hip. What's broiling?
Why, you are as sharp as the end of a roundhouse, Gracie. You have certainly mastered our slang.
There's only one thing bothers me, Fred. It's your jittermugs.
No, it's not mugs. It's jitterbugs, Gracie. Have the jitterbugs annoyed you any?
Well, the night I was on Rudy Valley's program, right in the middle of my song, some jitterbug shouted, "Swing it!"
Yes, swing it. That's a common expression.
Swing what?
Well, Gracie, that is entirely up to you. Tell me, is vaudeville coming back in England the way it is in this country?
Vaudeville will never really died in England, Fred. Audiences at home are loyal to their old favorites.
I know that.
Have you ever played in London, Fred?
Yes, Gracie, but that was 50 years ago. Long before your time.
Are you kidding?
Why, Gracie, the bloom of youth is on your cheek.
If it isn't my second childhood.
Well, let's praise the Lord and pass your inhibitions, Gracie. I want to ask you about English audiences. You know, one thing puzzled me when I was over there.
What was it, Fred?
Well, every time I finished my act, instead of applauding, the people always sang East Side, West Side. Why was that?
Audiences in England are very polite, Fred.
Oh, I see.
They wouldn't come right out and say, why don't you go back where you came from?
That is why they sang East Side, West Side?
Yes, they were trying to make you homesick.
So that's what it was. Well, those were happy days, eating fish when I was in the chips. I had a good time over there, Gracie.
I'm going back to England soon, Fred. I'll tell them.
Good. Someday I think I'll get my old vaudeville act together again and go back to London.
Not now, Fred.
Why not?
London can take it, but there's a limit.
Well, that's done it, Gracie. Now, how about doing a favor for me? How about a song?
Would you like to hear I never cried so much in all my life?
I certainly would. Mr. Goodman, if you will.
Joe took me to the movies the other evening. It was fine. They called it The Betrayal, and the acting was divine. It's the best film that they've had for years round at the Hippodrome, and it's a good job I took my handkerchief with me when I left home. Oh, it was a lovely picture, and I did enjoy it so. Oh, I never cried so much in all my life. When the villain seized the maiden, everybody shouted, oh. Oh, I never cried so much in all my life. He told her that he'd wed her, then enticed her on his yacht. Then he got her tied up in a proper sailor's knot. Then he kissed her twice, the dirty dog, upon her beauty spot. Oh, I never cried so much in all my life. It takes a lot to make me cry, but oh dear, when I start and think of what that girl went through, I'm like a water cart. I see her eyes, I hear her voice at night when I'm in bed. And here's a scene I'll never, never get out of my head. As she faced the blinding snowstorm and came trudging through the town, oh, I never cried so much in all my life. Oh, and when I saw her carrying her baby upside down, oh, I never cried so much in all my life. She lingered near the Rose and Crown. The wind was howling wild. When up the village street there came the father of her child. So she tucked him for a tanner for a pint of old and mild. Oh, I never cried so much in all my life.
That was very nice. Your song was very nice, Gracie. I'm sorry we haven't time to let you do an encore, but if there is anything I can do for you...
Well, there is, Fred. I've often wondered how some of your American radio programs would sound if they were done in England.
Well, tonight's your night, Gracie. We'll show you. If you heard that popular quiz show, Take It or Leave It, in London, it would probably sound something like this.
This is the Westminster wireless system. The correct time is Tuesday. And now we present London's favorite quiz, the program that made the 64-shilling question famous. Accept it or pip off. And here is your genial quizmaster, Philbert Allen.
Thank you. And welcome to Accept It or Pip Off. Our first contestant is your name, sir?
Rodney Charteris III.
Right you are, Rodney, old muffin. And what would you like to converse about, Rodney?
Well, I think I should enjoy discussing higher geometrical calculus.
Higher geometrical calculus, righto. And your first interrogation for 1 shilling is, Rodney, how do you spell calculus?
Let's see, calculus.
Calculus. Calculus.
K-A-L-K-U.
Calculus.
L-O-U-S-E. Calculus.
I'm sorry, Rodney. You funked it, old boy. You funked it. You might have done better on We the Moron. Our next contestant, a lovely lady from Upper Hampton Eve, Miss Gracie Fields. What would you like to chit-chat about, Gracie?
I think I'll talk about music.
Right you are. And your first question for 1 shilling is what instrument is this?
It's a piano.
Right you are. Now you have 1 shilling. Will you pip off or try for 2 shillings?
I'll try.
Very good. For 2 shillings, why does a piano have 3 pedals on it?
So the installment collector can get a better hold on the piano when he takes it away.
Right you are. Your next question for 4 shillings. Will you pip off or try again, Gracie?
I'll risk it.
Very good. What violin player has never appeared in Carnegie Hall?
Yasha Benny.
Yasha Benny. Now for 8 shillings.
I'll have a go at it.
You regret it.
Quiet. All right, Gracie. For 8 shillings, why was the lost chord never found?
Because nobody ever advertised for it.
Right you are. Now you have 8 shillings. You can pip off, or try for 16.
I'll try.
Righto. Your next question, when Annie Laurie died, what key did she die in?
The key of D. Annie said, I'll lay me down in D.
D is correct. You have 16 shillings, old girl.
I'll try for 32.
You regret it.
Quiet, please. Well, here we go, Gracie, for 32 shillings. What song has a note in it, and the note is not in the musical scale?
The Furious Bass.
Right you are. Now, you can tip off with your 32 shillings.
I'll try for 64.
64.
You regret
Quiet, you. Now, for 64 shillings, no assistance from the audience, please. That huckster preferred there. Gracie, tell me, what is the exemption theme song of any local draft board?
Rubinstein's Melody in 4F.
Right you are. Here is your 64 shillings. Accept it or pip off. Well, is there anything else you'd like to hear, Gracie?
Yes, I wonder how those little commercial jingles would sound in London.
Oh, I imagine they'd sound something like this, Gracie. Meet Orville's horseradish singer.
Orville's horseradish, it's the spot. Comes in the handy 2-pound pot. It's divine on bloaters and kidneys, too. Orville's horse is the radish for you. A shilling.
You see, Gracie, any of our radio shows would sound just about the same in London.
But there's one radio program you couldn't do in England.
Which one?
Gangbusters.
Oh, don't be silly, Gracie. Gangbusters would probably come out something like this.
Crips Crispy Crumpets presents Mob Bursters. Tonight's guest sleuth is the famous detective, Sir Leslie Ellen of Scotland Yard. Sir Leslie Ellen.
Thank you. Tonight's story is the true tale of the Fleet Street bank robbery and how the infamous blighter, Bad Bertie, London's worst bank robber, was apprehended.
However did you get on his trail, Sir Leslie?
One night I was sitting in my Scotland Yard office, stroking me bloodhound, mind you, when a police call came in over me short wave set.
Calling Scotland Yard. Fleet Street Bank has been robbed.
As soon as I got the call, I leaped on my velocipede, pedaled away like the very wind. When I got to the Fleet Street Bank, mark you, Bad Bertie was emerging with the swag in one hand and a pistol in the other.
Oh, heavens, what did you do, Sir Leslie?
I shouted here, "No, you don't, Bad Bertie, no, you don't."
What happened?
He did.
Blimey, Sir Leslie, what transpired?
The blighter shot me twice in the Inverness, once through the gaiters, and got away.
You lost him?
A stool squab told me he was hiding out on Baker Street. I combed Baker Street from door to door.
Yes?
I'm Sir Leslie Allen.
We don't want any.
I'll try the next door.
Yes?
Is Bad Bertie in here?
Not likely. This is the YWCA.
I shall try here.
Yes?
Who lives here?
Nobody. Lucky Strike Green has gone to war.
Well, there's one more house here. I'll try here.
Sir Leslie Allen of Scotland Yard.
Dowdy Dora, Bad Bertie's gun mall.
Bad Bertie ready, ain't he, Sir Leslie?
You haven't got too edged out it, Dora. There's 2 teacups set on the table. The jig is up, Bad Bertie. Come out.
Right, you all, Governor. I was hiding behind this antimacassar.
I apprehend you, Bad Bertie, for the robbery of the Fleet Street Bank.
You got me wrong, Sir Leslie. I'll admit I broke in, but I wasn't robbing the blasted bank.
Not robbing?
No, I was putting money back.
Putting money back? Why, old boy?
It's the new $25,000 ceiling.
How do you mean?
I stole $30,000. I had to break into the bank to put $5,000 back.
Right you are. Well, how do you think our programs would work out in England, Gracie?
I'd rather not be quoted, Fred. Good night.
Good night, and I thank you, Gracie, dear. Well, next week, ladies and gentlemen, our guest will be the new Metropolitan Opera star, James Melton. And now, Arthur, if you have a P.S.
I have nothing to say, Fred, but if your car could talk, it would say, brrr, cold weather's coming. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
What a great satirist. Fred was one of the best. Don't touch that dial. There is still one more hour of old-time radio to come. Up next is the Victory Parade of Spotlight Bands with Duke Ellington and the Green Hornet. If you love the World War II era, consider following us on Patreon. You not only support this channel, but you will get daily posts of pop culture and a daily newspaper in chronological order. It's neat to follow the war as your parents, grandparents, or even your great-grandparents have followed it. Check us out with a 1-week free trial. A link is in the comments to this video. For those of you who follow this channel for the classic movies, we are now posting all future movies on our Patreon page exclusively. This is because it is a much better platform. They allow us to share films that YouTube blocks. This means that you can see such classics as Holiday Inn with Bing Crosby, you know, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. You know, that's my wonderful singing voice. Bing does it a little better. Or Mrs. Minerva, Wake Island. And soon we are going to put up Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. A classic. Some great stuff. Also, check out our Christmas OTR playlist, 1930 to today. It is free, no subscription needed. Consider it our Christmas present to you. When you go to that playlist, you can scroll through 93 years worth of Christmas radio sorted out by year. Pick an historical year or a Christmas that has a special meaning for you. One Christmas that has a special meaning for me is Christmas 1974. My parents had just moved us from Franklin Park in the near west suburbs of Chicago to Carroll Stream, a growing community further west. My dad told my mother he wanted to go west until he smelled cow manure. Anyway, I was 5 and the oldest child with one brother and one sister. I remember going downstairs to our living room where the natural tree and all its tinsel and glass ornaments and lights were. It was a very sunny day and the room was very brightly lit. It was the closest thing to a Rockwell painting that I would ever experience. Santa had come. I couldn't tell you what I got that year, but I could tell you that it was a very optimistic Christmas. My parents, both gone for some years now, were still young at 27 years old and had a lot of things to look forward to. It is nice to play Christmas 1974 and relive those memories. I'm hoping to get the next show up Thanksgiving morning if all goes well. We will spotlight the week ending November 28th, 1942, and there will be a few Thanksgiving broadcasts, so I thought I'd run the shows that morning for you to listen to while preparing for the holiday. We are going to feature the Great Gildersleeve, the Cavalcade of America, Soldiers of the Press, the Eddie Cantor program, and NBC News. We hope that you can come back and visit. My name is Henry Chapin. Now for the final hour of old-time radio for tonight. We are going to start things off with some big band music with Duke Ellington on the Victory Parade of Spotlight Bands from November 19th, 1942. The show is being broadcast from Fort Dix, New Jersey. Following the Duke is the Green Hornet and the Torpedo on Wheels from November 21st, 1942. Well, let's turn back on this old tube radio, that's our time machine, and give this stuff a listen.
There's assembly. For the Fighting Sons of Freedom, the Coca-Cola Company presents the Victory Parade of Spotlight Band. Tonight, tomorrow night, and every night, Monday through Saturday, the Coca-Cola Company sends the greatest bands in the land to entertain the soldiers, the sailors, the Marines, and war workers. Tonight, we're at Trenton, New Jersey, playing for the officers and men at Fort Dix. Presenting in person and in the spotlight, Duke Ellington.
Thank you. Thank you, and hello there, everybody. This is Duke Ellington speaking. And we're mighty proud to be playing Victory Parade of Spotlight Bands broadcast number 1 from Theater number 5 here at Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Ah, yes, sir. Tonight it's New Jersey. New audience, new music with an old favorite band of all of the soldier listeners. There's been many a request for Duke Ellington, and we're answering the very first of them here this evening. So meet the Duke and Perdido. Folks, Fort Dix here in New Jersey is not very far from the entertainment center of the world, New York City. But it is far from the kind of entertainment these boys in uniform have time to take out to enjoy. So tonight, the Victory Parade of Spotlight Bands is bringing them their kind of entertainment in the person of Duke Ellington, who in turn is bringing them his kind of music. Here's Jimmy Britton to sing Just As Though You Were Here.
Each morning, and I'll promise to laugh. I'll say good morning to your old photograph, and I'll speak to you, dear, just just as though you were here. When purple shadows start to welcome the dark, I'll take the same old stroll we took through the park, and I'll cling to you, dear, just as though you were here. So don't be afraid that distance and time will finally tear us apart. The farther you go, the longer you stay, the deeper you grow in my heart. Each night before I wander off into sleep, I'll bring to life the tears I'd buried so deep. Then I'll kiss you, my dear, just as though you were here. I'll bring to life the tears I'd buried so deep. Then I'll kiss you, my dear, just as though you were here. Just as though you were here. Just as though you
And now it's 1-2, button your shoe, and 3-4, hit the dance floor. As Duke Ellington features Rex Stewart playing trumpet and Betty Roche singing especially for the boys here at Fort Dix, Hay Foot, Straw Foot.
If a strawfoot 5 miles more, then with a smack goes my pack on the floor. Come on, baggies, don't get sore, get help in yourself. If a strawfoot 4 miles more, after this tramp there's a campfire store. Come on, doggies, don't get sore, get help in yourself. The sun laughs with glee, and I start to shrink. I can't laugh like he. I'm carrying everything but the kitchen sink. It's a stop for 3 miles more. Where in the heck is this mechanized war? Come on, doggies, don't get sore. Get help in yourself.
One good turn deserves another, and so we're turning now to Johnny Hodges' saxophone. Their applause said the boys here at Fort Dix enjoyed that last number, and we hope they enjoy this next one quite as thoroughly. So here comes Johnny with the Duke Ellington Spotlight Band playing Don't Get Around Much Anymore. Navy, Marines, all of Uncle Sam's fighting forces, men and women workers on the home front. You always know from experience, many a refreshing experience, just what you want and what to expect when you feel like being refreshed. And you find there's offered frosty bottles of ice-cold Coca-Cola. Delicious taste of refreshment, thoroughly enjoyable after-sense of refreshment to bring home the fact every single time that the only thing like Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola itself. Duke Ellington is chock full of surprises, and that's been going on for years. Now here comes the musical surprise that's going on for 3 minutes and 4 seconds. We can't say whether this tune was inspired by an airplane or an elevator, but we do know that it's dedicated to the entertainment of the fighting Sons of Freedom here at Fort Dix. So here comes Going Up. Ellington to cap our climax, setting his cap for the officers and men at Fort Dix with a salute to their entertainment desires by meeting their demand for one of his most popular selections. For these boys who are daily improving their minds and muscles for good old Uncle Sam, here's They Ain't What They Used to Be.
Thank you. And now this is Duke Ellington. Say it's been a privilege and an honor to be chosen to come here and play for the officers and men of this outstanding military operation, Fort Dix, New Jersey. You boys certainly have a lot coming in the way of entertainment. We just hope that we've been able to please you with our little.
Well, thank you, Duke. You delivered a plenty. But how about your musical signature to the Coca-Cola guest register? It's been night number 51 for the Victory Parade of Spotlight Bands, and we've marked 62,980 Spotlight miles. Tomorrow night, we're sending Ted Weems to Monroe, Louisiana, to play for the officers and men at the United States Army Air Force's Navigation School. And on Saturday night, you'll hear the Spotlight Champion of Champions. That's the band elected number one by American servicemen throughout the nation. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For ice-cold Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes.
But Green Hornet. He hunts the biggest of all game, public enemies who try to destroy our America. With his faithful valet Cato, Britt Reed, daring young publisher, matches wits with the underworld, risking his life that criminals and racketeers within the law may feel its weight by the sting of the Green Hornet.
Ride with Britt Reed in a thrilling adventure, Torpedo on Wheels. The Green Hornet strikes again. Night long, heavy trucks lumbered along the trunk highways outside the city, moving with their loads of vital material. From a hill several hundred yards off the road, two men squinted through the darkness, checking the lights of each truck as it lumbered off the stiff grade. Is that it? What does it come near the crest of the hill? I don't see any flags. Nor any lights. No. Let it pass. You'll be alone. The information is that I told them waiting half an hour. Patience is a virtue you know nothing about, Calder, eh? It's cold, too. Not at all. Yeah. That's the one, Calder. See the red light? Now. Yeah. I'm coming. Hello, Michael Ashford. Oh, yeah. Hello, Reed. No, I couldn't
couldn't get close. They wouldn't let nobody close. They said there was some gasoline that might explode. They had the roped off. Only what the cops would tell me. Gail? No, she isn't here yet, Reed, but... Okay, as soon as she comes. I'll be seeing you. A fine thing. And me what used to be on the police force.
Hello, actress.
Hello.
I declare you all look gloomier than 2 bits worth of black molasses.
I said hello, didn't I? Now will you go away and... Oh, it's you.
Gosh, have I changed that much, actress?
You got a smudge on your cheek.
I have. Goodness, I haven't had a chance to look in the mirror.
Never mind looking for your mirror now. You haven't got time.
Why, that's true.
You have not. Reed was just talking to me. He wants to see you as soon as you come in, he said.
Uh-oh.
Golly, you did something wrong?
Well, I'm not sure I was where I was supposed to be.
What was that?
Right here at the Sentinel.
Then where were you?
No place, really. Just up on a hill.
Well, you'd better see Reed. He'll be in a hole. Now, go ahead. Say, just a second.
I can't wait.
No, you don't. Up on the hill where?
Why, it was just... Gracious sakes, Ashley, what makes you so suspicious?
Aha! That tells me. It was that truck accident, wasn't it? I might have known.
Shucks, supposing it was. Now I've got to see Mr.
Okay, but I'm going with you. Supper and snakes, that was my assignment.
I'm just all broken up about sneaking out, Mr. Reed, but honest to Richmond, I was just sitting around the newsroom doing nothing. I didn't have any more assignments than a hootie owl. So when I heard that Ashford hadn't been able to get near that accident scene, I just got...
He up and stole my assignment, Reed, that's what. Holy crow, if I wasn't a gentleman, I'd break...
Just a moment, actress. You tried, didn't you?
Huh?
You said the police had it roped off and you couldn't get inside, so you came back to the Sentinel.
Sure, that's right, Reed. But it's the principle of the thing. I know Gail didn't get any place either.
Not unless you call getting right inside the rope's no place. How do y'all think I got this smudge on my cheek?
What's that you're saying?
Do you mind if I take off my coat, Mr. Reed?
Okay, go ahead. Suffering snakes. A nurse's uniform. So you wormed your way inside them lines by posing as a nurse.
Wasn't it cute of me to figure it out?
What about the... Holy crow! Golly, I tell you...
Stop it, Mike. Well, Gail, you got inside, but you shouldn't have done it. If that trailer full of gasoline had blown up, the Sentinel would have lost its best woman reporter.
Well, that's just it, Mr. Reed. There wasn't any gasoline trailer. There wasn't anything there but just a big hole in the ground. I don't reckon we can print anything because that's why they were keeping people away. But that truck had blown up, Mr. Reed. It wasn't any ordinary truck. It was carrying dynamite.
Sabotage, Cater. It was sabotage just as sure as you and I are sitting here.
Miss Manning's very lucky, yes?
Yeah, she gives the appearance of being dumb, Cater, but there's plenty of brains behind that pretty face.
Sentinel not Princess?
And we can't. It's sensible information. That's why that area was roped off.
Poor Axford. He gets, hornswoggled.
These days, a lot of trucks are hauling war materials. Guns, ammunition, vital food. And this was a red flag job.
Will you explain, please?
There's no mystery about it. Trucks that carry high explosives are required to fly red flags during the daytime and have red spotlights front and rear at night as a warning.
Why you say sabotage? Perhaps the truck had accident and blew up.
It was a clear stretch of road, Cato. Those drivers are careful. It was an upgrade. The truck was traveling slowly. Besides, here's something else. Here. Look at this.
Mr. Britt, this is Clarion newspaper.
That's right.
That opposition paper.
I tell you, Cato. Don't you mention it and I won't. We'll just keep it a deep, dark secret.
But what...
Here's an ad in the Clarion. The Sentinel refused to run it.
Wanted. Experienced long-haul truck drivers. Gets better wages. Sentinel not run this ad?
No, we turned it down. The Sentinel doesn't encourage job pirating. But here's the odd angle, Cato. Our advertising department didn't get a kick from the people who wanted to place that ad. And yet the Sentinel has the top advertising coverage in the city. Every advertiser wants the Sentinel. Here's another angle. One of our truckmen applied. He couldn't find out where the job would be. They just weren't interested in him.
I don't understand.
Oh, wait, I'm not through. The only ones they were interested in were truck drivers used to hauling explosives. Yet they weren't doing any hiring that he could see at all.
Truck drivers who haul explosives. Mr. Britt, I don't see what that means.
Never mind. I do. That's why we're going out tonight.
Tonight?
Pick up the Hornet mask and the gas weapon. I hope there's plenty of gas in the Black Beauty.
A few moments later, stepping through a secret panel in the rear of a closet in his bedroom, Britt Reed and Cato went along a narrow passage built within the wall of the apartment house itself. The passage led to an adjoining building which fronted on a dark side street. Though supposedly abandoned, this building served as the hiding place for the sleek, superpowered Black Beauty, streamlined car of the Green Hornet.
Black
That beauty car all ready, Mr. Britt.
Okay, let's travel. Britt Reed pressed the button. The great car roared into life. The section of wall in front raised automatically, then closed as the gleaming black beauty sped into the darkness.
So far, so good, Cola. Now we have another job to perform. This affair of the entire caravan of trucks which will be carrying war supplies. That is, provided your information is correct.
Been correct so far, Wolf. I got it straight. The road race company. They'll be sending out a string of 10 trucks. Airplane batteries in most of them, TNT and a couple of others.
And when will they be sent?
I'll know that tomorrow.
TNT and airplane batteries. Batteries are very important, Nicola.
Yeah. I wish you'd lay off those German expressions, Wolf. It makes me nervous.
Then let us find some place to talk. Street is very cool.
Sure, we're going to my office. Save it for them.
We must make our plans exact.
Nobody in my office but my secretary. She knows as much as we do. We turn in here.
The secretary. I hope you would trust her.
Sure, all the way. We go here, Wolf. My office is up on the 3rd floor.
That's all I can tell you.
You sure of that?
Yes.
All right. Okay, let it go. That's all you can tell me.
Yes, Hornet,
Your boss must know about this, understand? Not a word.
Yes.
Okay. I'll be seeing him later.
Gone. Masked. So, Hornet, I mustn't tell ever. Not... Mr. Kohler, I didn't know you...
I was out in the hall with Wolf. We could see you through the glass in the door.
It wasn't my fault. I never saw the Hornet before in my life.
Relax, sister. Maybe I believe you. You told him about the road race job we're planning, didn't you? Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I had to.
Sure. Forget it, see?
Where's Wolf?
Him? Oh, don't worry about a thing, Miss Murdoch. He went downstairs ahead of the Hornet. He's going to follow him. He's going to find out who the Green Hornet really is. Pretty neat trick, huh? Well, Wolf?
Yeah, Cola. That was a fine idea. To get one of that car in the alley, I saw it clearly.
You know who he is?
I think it would be a good idea if you wrote a letter to the Daily Sentinel newspaper, Cola. Hornet will be sure to see it, yes?
Pick me up around 5 o'clock this evening, Cato.
Yes, sir. Excuse, please, Mr. Britt.
Make it fast, Cato. I'm due up in my office right now.
You recall last night when we leave Colonel office in Black Beauty?
Well?
I hesitate to speak of it at times, but now I'm more certain. Mr. Britt, I think somebody followed us last night.
Somebody followed?
Well, good morning to you, Reed. You're down kind of late, aren't you?
Oh, hello, Archie.
I've been down for hours already.
Well, I was out rather late last night.
Are you coming upstairs to your office? I'm on my way up myself.
Yes. All right. I'll see you later, Cato.
Yes, sir. Good day.
Well, let's not stand out in the street, actually. Let's get upstairs. Seems to have turned colder rather suddenly, hasn't it?
Sandy, you don't look good. Maybe you're not getting enough sleep.
I'll forget it, actually.
But you look kind of pale and pink.
Will you please forget it? I'm all right. I'm fine. He's been doing everything but take my pulse all the way up on the elevator.
Have you had some bad news, Reed? Has somebody died?
No. Not yet.
Not yet? What do you...
Actually, I have work to do. I haven't even seen the first edition. I haven't talked with Gunnigan about today's front page. I have a dozen letters to get off. Now, will you please do me a favor and let...
Mr. Reed.
Oh, now what?
I should have traffic lights.
Mr. Reed, heavens to Betsy. I declare I'm all out of breath.
Take a deep one and start over.
Well, I was helping Mr. Gungan check the mail, and this came in the Daily Sentinel. Well, I reckon you all better look at it. I never got such a start in my life.
Sounds important. Let's see.
Suffering snake here. Will you stop your hands from shaking? Here, Kissy.
Gee, it isn't fine. I don't know why Gunnigan pays any attention to crank letters like this. Actually, listen to this. To the editor. I won't tell you my name yet because I'm afraid of what might happen to me. The next time I write, I'll have police protection because I'll be positive then. In fact, I'm positive now. Mr. Editor, I know who the Green Hornet is. Now back to our story. The Sentinel carried the unsigned note in a box on the front page. That night at Britt Reed's apartment, Cato shook his head mournfully as Britt read it. I'll have police protection because I'll be positive then. In fact, I'm positive now. Mr. Editor, I know who the Green Hornet is.
Oh, that's very bad, Mr. Britt.
Makes a good headline, Cato.
This is no time for jokes. Always when I have bad dreams, is that sometimes somebody find out you're a Green Hornet. You go to jail, Mr. Britt. You get executed for murder.
I've never harmed anyone, you know that.
But police not know it. Police records say Green Hornet very bad criminal. Even murderer.
I've noticed the sign.
No, but obviously, you know the front. I tell you, we were seen when we leave Kohler office last night in Black Beauty.
Too bad. Then we've got the lowdown on Kohler and Wolf. Kohler's secretary talks, but I wonder how much good it'll do us now.
It's impossible to operate from behind steel bars.
Are we going to take this sitting down?
What is difference? Sitting down or standing up? Pretty soon we are lying down, 6 feet underground. Bad, very bad. You think it's safe for us to go out in Black Beauty tonight? After later in Central, police will be on watch every place.
Might as well, Cato. Our identity's known. It makes no difference what we do, does it?
Yes, that's very true.
Fuller wants to see us. It's obvious we wouldn't have sent that letter to a newspaper where it'd be published. Well, we don't want to disappoint him. Here's the Black Beauty. Hop in.
How you can talk so calmly? Your life's in danger. Please, answer me one question, yes?
What's that, Cato?
Kohler and Wolf know who is Green Hornet. Is that right?
Go on.
It's very obvious what they do. Perhaps they notify police. Perhaps not. But if they offer you choice between jail and helping them with sabotage, what will you do, Mr. Britt?
Get in the car, Cato. We'd better go. That's all I was able to find out, Wolf. Take another day to check it out. But...
Never mind, Fuller. So long as we are positive, yeah? Let us figure on the trucks instead. Just tonight?
Yeah, less than 2 hours.
The trucks will be assembled to take out terminal, yeah?
That's right.
Also, there's a munitions truck which is due at the terminal to unload men.
15 minutes before the rest pick up and leave.
They are good. They trail the munitions truck, take over when it stops for a traffic light, and then send the truck smashing into the loading terminal. Should ruin that value.
Come.
Oh. Now he comes. Fine. We shall be ready for his entry.
I'm back again. Where's your boss?
Why, you...
Hello, Hornet. I've been expecting it. I didn't want to disappoint you. After all, that letter was practically an engraved invitation, wasn't it?
Sure, one you couldn't refuse. I don't know why you bothered to wear the mask anymore with me.
Just force of habit, Mr. Kohler. Besides, you may be bluffing.
Would you be here?
Now, let's get down to cases, Hornet. You're a handy man, see?
Thanks.
That's all. You came up here the other night and got the dame to talk.
Oh,
Shut
I
up.
did.
Like I heard about you. You want a slice of dough to keep you quiet.
I always get it.
Now, this time it's different, huh? You see, if we know who you are, we can expose you just as easy as you can put the finger on us.
You followed me last night, is that it?
Something like that. We lost you after a while, but we got enough. We saw that car of yours up close.
Oh?
Yeah. Took down the license number. So anyway, Hornet, here's the angle. We know who you are, and you got a little dope on us. It's a Mexican standoff, sort of. We could use a man with your talent, especially tonight. In fact, it's time to leave now. We got to hurry.
Well, that's it. Tonight.
Oh, you didn't know that, huh?
Go on, Kohler.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we can use you. Do like we say, and I've got some cash to hand. Put that cash out the door.
Yes, Mr. Ford.
Here it is, Hornet, $2,000.
Not bad for a few hours' work.
Not even for you. But before I give it to you, I want to
What
know...
my answer? It's this. Don't move, Kohler. Now listen, don't move and you listen. The Green Hornet's been credited with a lot of crimes, but I don't want any part of the kind of job you're planning. I'll take that money right now. Why, thanks. We'll make a nice present for the USO. And there's one way to make sure you don't spread your information. What are you talking about? Dead men don't talk, Kohler. Now, Hornet, wait. Now, wait, Hornet. What the hell? Get at me. Now. Open that closet. That's it.
Get in there.
Now, lock it. Not good.
Come, let's get out of here.
Hello. That's better. Now I see. Woman. What happened to Mr. Price? Hello? Who is inside? One moment. Mr. Priest.
My head.
Oh, you hurt, Mr. Priest?
No, it's nothing. Wolf was in the other room waiting. They've already, in case I didn't play ball with them. Then the lights went out and Wolf came from behind. He used the butt of his gun.
They put you in closet.
I was half conscious, kid. I heard them arguing with a woman about something. And when I hurried to get away, they were such a hurry they even forgot to take this money.
Mr. Priest, look. There's woman.
Dead. Killed her. They're good at the dirty yellow bag. Time is it?
You what?
Kid, we've got to go.
Mr. Britt, no. You are busy.
We've got to go, kiddo.
Call the police.
Yes, we'll call the police. We've still got to handle this ourselves. The Black Beauty's fast. Faster than any police car. It's got to be fast.
It is a good, clear night, Kohler. And here we look both ways, yeah?
Oh, we got those trucks lined up the loading platform.
It is the auto direction that concerns me. As soon as we see the red headlight.
Yeah, that's our baby. What do we do about the Hornet, Wolf?
Simple, Kohler. After this is over, you go back to your office, nicht wahr? You didn't call the police. So you have captured the Green Hornet. They come and arrest him for the murder of his secretary.
She was pretty good.
Yeah, too nervous. Strain was too great for her. Sooner or later, she would have broken down and talked to the police or somebody.
Well, I guess it's the best way. Too bad the Hornet wouldn't work with us.
Patriotism and a criminal. Still, as you say, he's too dangerous. He would kill us both to keep us from revealing who he is.
Oh, we don't need that license number now.
It seems to me...
Wolf, that's it.
That's right. Now.
What's the idea of stopping me, you guys? This here's a hot shot. I ain't got no time to help big spies. I thought maybe you could give us a lift to the nearest garage. Sorry, buddy. This is government stuff. No hitchhikers.
Get him. Speak up, Senator Rose.
I'll tell you, Mike, you know, you jump out of the truck, Wolf.
Yeah. The ride behind me. If the truck is close enough, I jump. The torpedo on me in the same space that the truck's below. Yes.
That's it, Kid, with the car trailing it. Pull up on the left of the car. Close. What the? Take it, Kohler. Going off the road. Now the same with the truck, Cato, up on the left. Truck loaded with explosives. You know what? I can't let it crash. I'm going to jump for it. You'll have to get right alongside. Yes, sir. Don't let this happen. I'll take that wheel, Wolf. That does it. Knock him out. Now we better make ourselves scarce, Cato. Look at those men running up from the truck terminal. I spotted the truck leaving. But, Mr. Britton, these spies, they know who's Green Hornet. No time, Cato. Run for it before we're seen. Well, I'll be... Hey, you guys, something screwy. This isn't a regular driver. Yeah, I did. It's sure lucky we came along with the cops. Them two lugs tried to blow up that dynamite truck and the rest of them with it. What a story for the Sentinel. I tell you.
Heavens to Betsy, will you listen to me? I'm trying to tell you. One of those spies says he knows who the Green Hornet is.
Hey, what's that?
Sure thing. I just heard him telling the police. He doesn't know yet, but he says he's got the license number of the Green Hornet car.
The license number? Holy crow, is that all?
Was something wrong?
Something snake. Do you think the Hornet would be fat enough to have a regular license plate for his cars? It's a phony. That number's been spotted dozens of times. They'll never nab the Hornet that way. Never in a million years.
Popular radio dramas created by George W. Trendle are a copyrighted feature of the Green Hornet, Incorporated. All characters, names, places, and incidents used are fictitious.
Remember, boys and girls, crime does not pay. Well, that's the shadow. But I guess it can go along with any detective program in the old-time radio years. The bad guy never wins. My name is Henry Chop. That's the way it was the week ending November 21st, 1942. Come back and visit again Thanksgiving morning when we will spotlight the week ending November 28th, 1942, which just happened to be Thanksgiving weekend 1942. We are going to feature the Great Gildersleeve, the Cavalcade of America, Soldiers of the Press, the Eddie Cantor program, and NBC News. Until then, let's turn off this old tube radio. That's our time machine. Good night, and God bless.
This changing world, this changing scene, where is it taking us? What does it mean? As long as we're certain of each other, we know we don't have to be afraid. These changing times we rise above. We have no time for them. We have our love, and love is the only thing that still remains the same. through all this change.